Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Chatting with Wisdom Courageous Conversations. So, this is our first of many of these conversations here on Thursdays. So, I'm your host, Giga Domigwekwe, which means Talking Feather Woman, and I'm also known as Roly Alaire. And I am so excited to have you join me today. In this episode, we're diving into harnessing the power of intention, making purposeful choices. So, we're going to explore how to make intentional decisions. We're going to explore how making intentional decisions can truly shape our lives, turning inspiration into reality and aligning our actions with our deepest values. It's going to be a powerful and transformative conversation, and I can't wait to share it with you. And here's the best part. You don't have to just listen. You can come and join me live and be part of the conversation by clicking the StreamYard link. This will bring you right up on screen to share your thoughts, ask questions, and connect directly. So just use the link that is in the description and be part of this incredible journey with me. So grab a cup of tea or a bottle of water and get comfortable, and let's chat about living life with intention. So let's dive in. So I am super stoked that we are doing this today. So this is the first, like I said, the first of many of the courageous conversations. And so today, what I want to do is I want to talk about, so like if somebody happens to jump in and wants to jump on the live with me, then I will bring them up and we will have these conversations. But we were going to have these conversations on a weekly basis. So the topics are geared from the blog post that is posted on Tuesdays. And so from Tuesdays until Thursday, that is where we're going to have these conversations. And so I'm super stoked and super excited that we're finally doing this. This has been on my agenda for some time, but life has just gotten in the way. And so now that I am back for fall and doing all the fun things, I'm super excited to be here. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, so we're talking about harnessing the power of intention. And so because it's really important for us to be able to really be focused on what it is that we want to bring in. And so it is really easy for us to be able to say, okay, well, I'm just going to wish upon a star and things are going to be great. But that's not really how intentions work. And so I just want to start off with talking about what is an intention. So an intention is more than a passive wish. So it's more than like that shooting star wish or fleeting thought. So we actually deliberately focus on mindset, and we're able to get these what is it that we want. So rather than just kind of flowing around aimlessly walking in the bush, we're actually focused on something directly, and we're following the path of least resistance, the path that we actually have. So the difference between a fleeting thought and a focused mind, so fleeting thoughts are like passing desires. So they are there's no direction, everything's just kind of there, and you're just kind of meandering around in the on the trail, not really getting to where it is that you want to be able to go. And so how intentions influence our actions and outcomes. So when we act with intention, we're more likely to make choices that align with our goals. And that part there is key. This is really, really important. So when we focus and we are within taking that intention, then we are able to really guide where we want things to be able to go. So when we end up at that crossroads, we get to systematically choose which way that we're actually going to go. So I have this cheat sheet that is available. And so with all of the things that we're talking about today. And so if this is something that you're interested in, then if you go to my website, rolyalaire.ca, then you can go into the chat section. So down in the bottom of the right-hand corner, there is a spot to chat, and you can just send a message to Grace or I, and we will make sure that you actually get the downloaded version of this chat. And like I said, so if you're wanting to jump on go live with me and be part of the conversation, I would love to have you coming on. And so, yeah, so just click on the StreamYard link and you will actually be brought into the back end or the background or whatever it is that you want to call it to be able to come and join me in this conversation. So in the meantime, I'm just going to continue to share. So the role of mindfulness in attention setting. So mindfulness is that practice of just being present. So just being in the moment, like not really focusing on anything else or anyone else. And it's just literally being in the moment. And so we can practice mindfulness in a lot of different ways. And so when we are being fully present with our thoughts, our feelings, where we are, it makes it so that it's very clear where we actually want to be able to go and very purposeful. So that is really, really important. So how does mindfulness help us tune in to our true desires and motivation? So mindfulness allows us to be able to pause. So whether it is just stopping and literally just smelling the roses, or if we're walking down a path down the road and we're paying attention to the sounds, or we're paying attention to what the things that we see, those kinds of things, that's like just being able to allow us to just pause, just being able to just stop, slow down, focus on our breath. Whatever it is that we need to do to be mindful is just being able to be in that moment. So there's a lot of practical ways to practice mindfulness in our daily lives. And so one of the things that I just finished talking about was that practicing our breath. So like really one of the things that I redirect people all the time to is their breath. Because when we are focused on our breathing, we can't focus on anything else. So like just focusing in on how our breath is moving in and out. So whether it is coming in the upper part of our chest or down in our belly, and we don't need to change anything. We just need to be aware of where are we breathing from? Where is this breath coming in? How does it feel when it's coming in through our throat or through our nose? Can we feel the cool air coming in? Can we feel the warm air going out? And like that is just one of the things that is really helpful. So breath is always, and you get to bring your breath everywhere you go. So you can actually do things like having something tactile. So one of the things over the last couple of days is that I've been playing around with the sphere. So like having something tactile allows you to be able to like feel it in your hands. You'll actually see some people like jingling change in their pockets. So like whatever it is that works for you in terms of like just being able to be in this moment. So something tactile, you can recognize like how does it feel? What's the temperature? Those kind of things. Or like if you have something like this that you can actually move it around in your fingers, whatever it is that it takes to just be in that moment or be in that space. And when we actually focus on these things, it allows us to be able to just simply be able to take the lead on being able to be more aware. And that is super important. So clarifying your intentions. So when we use self-reflection as the first step to clarity. So before setting any intention, it is really, really important that we actually understand what it is that we truly want. And it can't be just a wish upon the star. It has to be something that you really want to be able to come to fruition. So if you are really hoping for a job, then being able to intentionally be able to focus on what is that job going to look like? How am I going to feel when I'm going into that job? But the other part of it is making sure that it actually ties into within our own core values. So if it is something that is completely unaligned, so you are thinking about applying for a job, I don't know. So I'm just going to use mining because that's what came to my mind. So you're going to apply for a job in mining, but long hours isn't something that you are interested in. And so is that really what it is that you want? So like, does it reach your core values? Is it something that for some people, it'll be the financial aspect and they will be okay with that. And so just being able to have these moments of what exactly is it that we want? How do we want to do that? Apparently, I just lost my Kleenex. So what is it exactly that we want to have? What do we want to do? And how do we want to bring that forward into where we're at, but like really paying attention to, so like if you 100% do not believe in the values of corporate America, for example, well, then going to apply for a job there is not going to help bring that into fruition, right? So it's just really, really important for you to be able to, like, where does it fit for me? The role of clarity in creating meaningful goals. So when we actually are very clear on what it is that we want, then it makes it a lot easier for us to be able to have some purposeful steps, some really tangible steps as to how we're actually going to get there. Aligning our intention with our values. So again, when we actually can connect to what are our core values. So like if it's something that we really do not align with, then it's going to be really hard for that to come forward, right? So something, for example, a good example is, so oftentimes something that is really important to me isn't necessarily really important to my husband. So when I am going to, so if he's going to set an intention or he's going to be focusing, it's not necessarily going to be part of who he is and what it is that he's doing. So just really important for us to be able to like figure out what are our core values and does what we're wanting to happen fit within our core values. So just really, really important. So like, for example, another example would be for me, spending time with my family and setting intentions for me to be able to have all that extra time with my family really does fit within my core values, where some other grandparent may not necessarily want to spend that much time with their grandchildren, right? So I don't care if I get the kids at 1:00 in the morning. Like if things are distressing for you and you want me and you need my help, then I'm quite okay with that. My husband, on the other hand, is kind of like, really, 1:00 in the morning? I'm not okay with that. But for me, that is something that's really important for me to be able to be there for my children, to be able to help them with whatever that they need to do. And so, but it really truly aligns with within my own core values. So another example of alignment versus misalignment. So for instance, if one of your values is family, but your career goals pull you away from them, you feel torn. So you need to align your intentions with your career and your family. That can create harmony between the actions and values, right? So like it's really important. So like if family is really important and you're away for 4 weeks at a time, and then you come home for 2, and then it's like, hey, well, how does that work, right? So like just being able to realign your values with your intention. The other part is visualization. So we often hear people talk about visualization and everybody's like, oh, I can't visualize, I can't see what it is that I need to do. So some people have this remarkable tool that they are able to like completely see everything from their third eye. They can close their eyes and they can actually see all these things transform right here in that space, in that third eye. Whereas some people, like me, I have sensations or feelings. So I don't necessarily see things in my mind's eye unless it is things that I'm recalling as a memory. So like if I'm visualizing being able to be fully rooted and fully grounded, I don't get this, the image doesn't come up in my third eye, it comes up in my memory. And so like I can actually visualize this tree coming up and then being able to visualize the tree coming down and being able to see the roots that are spread out. And I can do that because I've been in a forest where the roots are completely spread out and where they're actually intermingling with each other. And I can see that in my, as part of my memory versus being able to see things in my mind's eye. I have a couple of friends who it is very clear. They can actually feel and see and everything. My mom is like that. My mom can actually see, hear, feel, probably taste whatever it is that is coming up in her third eye, which is remarkable. But that for me is not me. So like I get sensations of so like I'll get like the the hairs will stand up on my arms or on the back of my neck, like that kind of thing. So like that is mine because I'm very tactile in that way. So like for me, that's really, really important for me to go do. So when you're visualizing, if you cannot just use your mind's eye, then use your memory. Use the things that you've seen either on TV or use the things that you've experienced in your life, whatever it is that takes. The other thing is using affirmations to strengthen intentions. So affirmations are positive, empowering statements that reinforce your intentions and repeating them regularly. So my intention for 2024, for example, is ensuring my life is filled with as many moments that lighten my heart and give me the overwhelming feeling of love. So that is my intention. And so I use that intention as often as I can. I read that intention. When I sit at my desk, it's like literally sitting right there so that I get to read it every single day. It's in the front of my journal. So when I open up my journal, I start with my reading my intention. And it's just something that allows me to be able to just bring back to reinforcing what my intentions are. So taking action on our intentions. So like that part there is key. Like, so that is like super, super important for us to be able to do. So again, if you are coming here and you want to be able to join in the conversation, wherever it is that you're listening to this live, then you have the opportunity to jump on in the back end and join me through StreamYard, where we will actually be able to have a conversation. I think I can have up to 10 people join me on the call. 10 if I'm not mistaken. So next we're talking about taking action. So again, these points that I'm actually talking about, there is like a downloadable sheet. If you want them, go onto my website and just comment in the chat feature. There's not going to be anybody there, but you can still use the chat feature. And then tomorrow, either Grace or myself will actually send that off to you. And so now the next one is taking actions on intentions. So intentions require actions. So it is not literally a wish upon the star and that things are going to start falling from the sky. So really, really important that we actually take a look and figure out, like, where do we want this to be? Where do we want this to go? And how are we going to get there? So what are our intentions? What is it that we want? And how are we going to be able to get there? Well, we need to take steps to do that. So if we want to lose weight, for example, we can't just say, okay, I set the intention that I'm going to lose weight. Okay, perfect. You're going to lose weight. Now, what are some of the steps that you're going to do to be able to do that? So one of the things that I did over the course of this summer was increase my steps. So my average steps, or like my goal steps, is 7,500 per day. And so over the course of July and August, then I increased it to 10,000 steps a day. But the only way that I'm going to get there is by taking the walks, by doing the things that we need to. So for example, I'm at 9,600 steps today. So if I can do a few more steps beforehand, that would be great. But I've reached my 7,500 steps today. And so the other part is being accountable and tracking progress. And so like knowing, so I actually go and check within my my Fitbit app. And so then I know how long it is that I've been walking or how many steps on average that I've been taking and that kind of thing. And so like I actually get to see that fluctuation of like, okay, I have to increase my steps more if I want to be able to meet that goal by the end of the summer or by the end of the month or whatever it is that I need to do, is having that accountability and tracking. And sometimes that accountability is simply by jumping on a conversation with a group of people and saying like, hey, this is what I'm doing and I want you to be my accountability buddy or my partner, or hold me accountable when I'm doing XYZ. So the other one is flexibility and adaptability. So the next, the need for flexibility in intention setting. So life can be unpredictable. And so rigidly sticking to a plan may lead to frustration. So I know that this is something that my husband really, really struggles with. And so, and not to say that I'm not always flexible. Sometimes I'm not flexible for certain things, but it's still really important for us to be able to have this need for flexibility. So I have a plan, I have my agenda, I have my whatever, But if I get a call that I need to go pick up one of the kids from school, then I will adapt and I will do whatever it is that I need to. If my plan was to do whatever and that changes, then I will be open to like having whatever shift that needs to happen. So it's just really important. So like, for example, I'm just going to give you a couple of examples, but if you use the downloaded sheet, then there's five examples. Yeah, there's 5 examples of like how to be able to adapt to the changes of our intentions. So educational goals delayed by family responsibility. So a person intended to complete their master's degree within 2 years. Family responsibilities such as caring for an ill family member required more time and attention, making full-time studies impossible. So how we adapt to that is instead of giving up on their education, they shifted to part-time enrollment, allowing them to balance their family responsibilities while still progressing toward their degree. Though it took longer, they stayed committed to their ultimate goal of graduating. Another example is a career shift due to personal circumstances. So the original intention is someone set the intention to advance to a leadership role within their company. Their obstacle was family circumstances required them to relocate to another city where their company had no presence. So the adaptation was instead of abandoning their intention, they focused on seeking a leadership role in a different company in the new city. So they updated their resume, networked, and found a similar leadership opportunity, staying aligned with their ultimate goal of career advancements. And so, like I said, there's like 5 different examples, but I'm just sharing a couple of them with you guys right now. So it's just really important for us to be able to shift when we need to shift and have that flexibility, remain rigid where we need to remain rigid, but there are going to be times when we can have that opportunity to kind of sway in and out of whatever it is that we have going on. The next thing to talk about is overcoming obstacles and challenges. So challenges are inevitable. There are going to be things that prevent us from doing exactly what it is that we wanted. So we moved here in June. We got the office structure has been here since June, but only until recently did we get the hydro hooked up. And so it's taken a long time because we've had different challenges. The wrong part came in, and then we needed to wait for another part. And then when we got investigating, then there was something different and we needed to get something else. And like, so there's been lots of like back and forth. And so how we were able to navigate around that was remaining firm on what it is that we needed to do. We still needed to be able to do this, but we needed to get different ways of being able to do that, including having someone in particular come and get those things done. And so it's just really important for us to face whatever it is that we are struggling with. And when we're really struggling with these setbacks, like what can I learn from this? That is sometimes hard and our ego gets in the way. And so it's just really important for us to be able to get out of ego and or emotions so that we can actually get into the facts of like, hey, so what's the lesson? What's the lesson in this? What do we need to know? We make mistakes, but they're also invaluable. So like that's another thing to really remember of what it is that we need to do. So staying committed despite setbacks. So reframe the setbacks. So for example, my husband's monitor broke, and so he was like really frustrated because it broke because the cat knocked it down. And the grandson is always constantly going up on the desk, and so it's been broken. So the reframe to that is, so he's like, oh, because I said, well, you can use this one here because we're still trying to figure out how to get this computer to work properly. And so I said, you can use this one for now until we order another one. And apparently this little bug is flying in front of me, driving me nuts. And so with the setback, so then it was reframing. So his thinking was like, oh, what's the point? Because then it's just going to get broken again. What's the point in ordering? So then my response in terms of reframing was being able to say, okay, so So in terms of helping him reframe that, my response to him was, thanks, honey. That's a great idea. We will need to figure out how to secure it so that it doesn't get knocked over again between Clark and Tigor. And so then, and of course, it was like the response. But it's really important for us to be able to reframe what is it that we have, that we see, that we have going on, and how can we look at things differently. So for those of you who are listening, how are some things that, like, give me some examples of reframing and how we can actually do that. And so if you're wondering, so you can do that here on the live. If you're catching this on the podcast, you can actually go ahead and go to the blogs and find Harnessing the Power of Intention, and you can comment right directly on the blog. Break down the goal into smaller steps. So like that is really, really important. Focus on your why. So remember why you want this, why you were setting this as your intention. So like what was the purpose? Like why are you doing that? Because if you don't, then it makes it really difficult. Seek support from your community. So a lot of times other people have been there, and it's really important for you to be able to say, okay, so now what? And really being able to focus on that piece. And so another point is being able to, I lost my spot, hang on a second. So seeking support, practice self-compassion. So like when we can be gentle with ourselves, it makes a huge, huge difference. One of the things that I see often with people is that we're very quick to support others, but not that quick to support ourselves. Like, so what can we do? What can we do to support ourselves in making sure that we have whatever it is that we need and whatever it is that it takes? And so, so that's practicing self-compassion, and adapt and adjust your plan. So sometimes the plan, and I'm using my husband as an example, is that he gets very frustrated because the plan changes often. And so sometimes the plan does change often, and sometimes we need to just go with that flow. But when we can actually take a look at adapting the plan, then it makes a huge difference. So when we see that it's not working properly, then we look to see how can we do this differently? What else can we do? How else can we make that happen? And so that's really, really important. The next one is celebrating wins. And so celebrating wins is like these little tiny steps. So the win could be as simple as, I'm trying to think of an example. So celebrating each one of the milestones. So for example, when I was writing my book, it was like, okay, so I got the topic, I've got that next part done, and so then I got to celebrate that. Or even my Oracle deck. So my Oracle deck is that I've got 7 of the descriptions ready, and 2 of the images for them are completed. And so I was able to share, this is what you're going to see in this deck, kind of thing. And so like that is extremely important for us to have a look at celebrating those wins. Visualize your success. So actually taking a look at like seeing it in your mind's eye. Like, what do you see? So when you see that success, and success is different for each person, so it depends on what it is that your intention is, and really important for you to be able to see what it is that's happening. So so visualizing, so looking very clearly at what is it that you want it to look like. And so what do you want to look like? What do you want it to feel like? And just really using all of your senses. So closing your eyes and being able to see. So say, for example, I have a friend who wants to be able to buy a boat. And so when he's looking at buying this boat, is being able to see it when he closes his eyes, and what is it going to feel like? So when he's out on the lake, like, he's going to feel the wind blowing in his face. He's going to feel the water splashing. He's going to hear the water splashing. He may feel the sun on his face. Whatever it is, and he's going to feel the pleasure and the joy of being able to be on that boat, right? So like those are the things that are really, really important for you to be able to do. Revisit and reassess your goals. Sometimes we need to shift gears. So sometimes we had a plan and that's not going to happen. So, for example, I still have the intention and the plan of being able to get my tarot deck, my Oracle deck up and running, but the intention was for me to have it done by March of this year, of this coming year. That's not going to happen. So it may be the March of the following year, but it's definitely not going to happen for 2025 unless, by some miracle, we get all of our ducks in a row and we get all those things done. But it's just really important for us to be able to say, okay, so our setbacks, how are we going to actually move things forward? How are we going to reassess our goals? We may just change the date. We may just say, okay, well, I'm only going to do 20 cards instead of 48 cards or whatever amount that we had going on, right? So that's just really, really important to do as well. Practicing gratitude. So how gratitude enhances your intention setting. When you can actually feel grateful for the things that you have, then it makes it a lot easier to be able to feel for the things that we want. And so just being able to just be in that space and be in that moment of how do we want this to shape. So daily gratitude practices. So just being able to just take a minute and figure out like what am I grateful for today? What did I accomplish today? Sitting down at the supper table and what was one good thing that happened today? And so those are different ways of being able to have that practicing daily gratitude. The impact of intention on relationships. So how intention shapes our interactions. So setting intentions for your relationships, whether to communicate better, to be more present, or to show appreciation, can significantly improve your connections with others, creating stronger bonds through intentionality. And so setting intentions to listen more actively or to express gratitude can positively influence your relationships with your family and friends. And so it's just really important for us to be able to just be in this space, be in this moment, and just be grateful for the experiences and or the people around in our lives. Mindful decision making. So it is so easy for us to just make a decision on a whim. And so being able to, and especially when we're coming from emotion. So really important for us to like just take a step back, figure out where do we want to go? What do we want to do? How do we want to be able to do this? And so, but they also need to connect to our intentions, right? So like that part is really, really important. So if we are going to set the intention that we want to lose weight, and our decision making is very spontaneous of like, okay, we're going to go have fast food for dinner. We're not going to plan our dinners. Or we are going to go down the chip aisle and get the chips, and that's what we're going to eat instead of having our dinner or whatever, right? So like those are just examples of how we're going to, so making decisions that align with our intentions. So like if that is what our intention is, then we need to take steps. We need to go down the fruit and vegetable aisle. We need to make sure that or if you're doing carnivore that you're eating, that you're going down the meat aisle. Whatever it is that you're doing is that you are intentionally setting those steps. Meal planning is huge when you're actually doing it that way. Balancing ambition with well-being. So why balancing matters. So like when we look at our intentions, we need to make sure that we're still going to be okay, that we're still going to need to. So for example, I want to work someplace that I am going to make $100,000. Well, if making $100,000 in the year means that I'm going to have to work 80 hours a week or 120 hours a week, then that's not going to help create some balance within what it is that I have going on. And so like that is really, really important. So burnout, burnout is a definite risk. So like working 120 hours is not sustainable. You might be able to do it for a week or two, maybe a couple of months, but it's not something that you can sustain your entire body to. Intentions that promote health and happiness. So set intentions that will push you towards achievement and prioritize self-care, rest, and emotional health. And so like at the end of the day, then I chill. And so blue screen, watching TV is probably not the best, but it is my time to be able to just kind of debrief or like just chill or whatever it is that I'm watching, because I don't have to think. I don't have to come up with a plan. I can just sit there and just watch it all happen. And so for me, that works. Reading a book means that I have to put that thought through. I have to think. I have to like try and imagine what it is that's going on. Whereas if I just turn on the TV, it just allows it to just numb my brain. Or I play a game that allows me to just numb it. So letting go of what no longer serves you. So releasing outdated goals and habits. So sometimes some of the values that we had are not necessarily our values, right? So they were instilled upon us because of family or those kinds of things. So like it's just really important for us to be able to remember. So creating space for new opportunities. So one of the things that decluttering, so like just getting rid of things that no longer serve you, so that you can actually make room for new stuff. So like it just seems like, so energetically it just brings you extra space. It brings you extra things of what it is that you have, that you need to have going on. So the emotional benefits of letting go. So letting go can be freeing, allowing you to move forward without the weight of the past expectations. So like that is something that is really important. And so that emotional benefit of letting go, that could be forgiveness. So forgiveness does not mean that you are okay with whatever the circumstances were. Forgiveness is being able to let go of what is not yours. And so somebody being angry with you over a decision, that's not yours. Somebody mistreated you, you can actually release that of like, okay, that's on them. That goes on to their karma. That's not mine to carry. And so it doesn't mean that you have to like it, like them, be okay with the situation or anything. It just simply means that you get to be in that space. Incorporating intention into your daily life. So like I said, when I sit at my desk, I have the opportunity to read my intention for the year. And so then that allows me to be able to know that this is what I'm doing. So if I'm not at my desk, then I set an intention for making things go well. If I'm going on a trip, so for example, I'm driving to Temagami tomorrow, so then when I get in my vehicle and I put on my seatbelt, then the intention will be set for me to be able to get to and from my destination safely. And so, and that is something in terms of like just bringing in those daily intentions. Reflection and reassessment of intention. So why regular reflection is important. So it is important for us to think about what it is that we want. So we may have an intention of something that we want to have happen. And like it's a 5-year plan, for example, and it's going to take us 5 years to be able to get there. So within that 5 years, things may have changed. We may or may not want to have this particular thing happening anymore, and we need to shift. And so like that is just really, really important for us to be able to do. Reflection also allows for growth. We actually get to see the progress that we're doing. So like I know that in Soulful Shares, one of the things that we will do, that we attempt to do every quarter, is really checking to see where are we at. Like, so where did we start? Where did we come from? And sometimes we don't see that because we have blinders on and we can't see that difference. But the women in our program will actually share what it is that they see. So like if somebody is really struggling with being able to see their progress, then we help them out with that. And so because it's really, really important for us to reflect on how much that we've grown. Conclusion, embracing a life of purpose. So I'm going to recap the key insights. So summarize. So the power of setting clear intentions, staying mindful and being flexible in our journey. So like that's really, really important. Encouraging ongoing reflection and action. So one of the things that I'm going to invite you to do is to share them in the group. chat. So like if you are in the I can't even think. My mind just went blank. So if you're in the Timeless Transformation Circle, share them in there. Let them know what it is that's going on, or like what it is that you have happening, and allow that to be in that space and in that moment. Or you can go onto the blog post and you can actually comment down on the bottom of the blog post. So one of the things that I want to invite you is to let your intention be the compass that guides you onto your true north. So creating a life rich with purpose and brimming with possibilities. So like just really, really important for us to be able to do that. So I want to thank you for joining me on this first Courageous Conversations. If you would like to join me on the Creative Conversations, I would love to be able to have you join me on the screen where we can actually have an actual conversation and a discussion instead of me just sharing. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you, and have a fabulous day. I will see you next Thursday. Should be first thing in the morning, so should be 9:30. So today was one of those flexible days that we needed to adjust. But it should be Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. 9:30 or 9? 9 or 9:30? I can't remember. Let me go look. That would be the 19th. And presto, voila. Nine. So it should be 9 a.m. on Thursday morning. So maybe I might be a little early coming on. We'll see. I just need to confirm our travel time, but it should be 9, I would think. But yeah, so I will see you then, and have a fabulous day. Bye for now.